What's up, everybody? This is Seebass from Rockin with Seebass, and we are live here at the International College of Radio of Broadcasting. Yeah, that's right. I'm at my school right now. I decided to do it up here, and it's kind of cool. Good setup. Everything is kind of nice. Today we're going to have a very special guest. His name is Steve Torme, and he is here right now, and we're going to bring him on. Hello, sir. How are you?
Well, how are you doing?
Not too bad.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I'm over here at my school, actually, just, recording things and all that.
What school are you at?
It's called the International College of Broadcasting.
Makes sense. Yes. Makes more sense than International School of Auto Mechanics. That wouldn't make sense. Yeah.
Oh, no, not at all. So what have you been doing lately, sir?
Oh, boy. Well, a lot of interviews. Just got off another Zoom call about 2 minutes ago. Since this, been very, very fortunate. This song, I Remember Christmastime, debuted on Thanksgiving Day. Excuse me. If you're an independent artist, it's pretty hard to get airplay on any radio station or anywhere. It just is. I mean, if you're Adele and you release an album, or you're Mumford & Sons, you're not going to have a problem getting airplay. But if you're an independent artist and you call up a station, hey, I've got this brand new song, they go, well, good for you, and they're going to hang up. So the fact that this came out on Thanksgiving, and in less than 3 weeks, we have 42 radio stations across the country that have picked up the song, including Canada and the UK. I'm just flattered beyond belief. So that's a long answer to your short question. That's what I've been up to. I've been doing a lot of interviews, and I've got concerts coming up, so I'm rehearsing for those too.
Well, that's actually really nice. Speaking of the radios that you've mentioned, my school here has their own radio station, and I asked them, hey, could you put the song on the radio station? Because I really like it. And
thank you. Thank you very much. That's nice of you. Thanks.
Oh, yes. And to kind of just sum up from the song that you made, what made you come up with this song?
Well, this song started life as a different song. This is a song I wrote called A Different Time, and it was kind of a reflective tune about how my life has taken me to where I am right now. I was born in Manhattan in New York and lived in New York for a while, then lived in Los Angeles for over 30 years. And now I live out in Appleton, Wisconsin. And the change from those two cities is obviously so different. I was in a park one day with my kids when they were very small and started thinking about this and just reflecting on it. And I wrote this song called A Different Time. And a buddy of mine who I'm doing, one of the people that's in these concerts that I'm doing right now, we have a run of 10 concerts called For Kids from 1 to 92, which lifts one of the lines from my dad's song, The Christmas Song. Mm-hmm. He always loved the song. He said, dude, I love that song. It's very sentimental. It brought a tear to my eye every time I hear it. But I keep hearing a different title. I said, well, what does that mean? He says, well, instead of A Different Time, I hear, I Remember Christmastime. And I think if you change some of the words and made it more about Christmas and about the memories of Christmas and what it was like for you as a child, I think you could have something special. And I was kind of reluctant. I said, well, my song's already written. I don't really want to change it. But I thought about it. I said, you know what? There's no reason I can't have two songs out of this now. So we kept all the exact same music. I changed some of the lyrics, changed the title, obviously. Mm-hmm. And fortunately, we've ended up with a really lovely, almost a Norman Rockwellian kind of family-oriented Christmas song. And hopefully when people hear it, it strikes a chord with them and what they thought about Christmas, how they felt about it when they were children.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I mean, when I listened to it, it kind of brought back some memories of mine when I was a kid, riding down the sled on the hills and all that.
We all did it. If we were lucky enough to be in snow, that's what we did. You saw Christmas trees and you actually heard Christmas carols. And I was telling somebody it's such a different perspective. When you're 8 years old and Christmas is coming, you can't stop counting the hours, much less the days. Like, 13 more days till Christmas. Is it here yet? Is it here yet? Is it here yet? And then Christmas comes and can I open my presents? It's very exciting. Right. And when you get to be an adult, it's like, oh God, Christmas is coming. Do I have to see those? Do I have to see those relatives? And how am I going to get a parking space at the mall? It's just a different perspective. So it's nice to hear it from, when we really, really loved it when we were children, and it really was, for lack of a better word, it was a magical time of year.
Right. Well, it's kind of interesting. Me as a kid, I, always look forward to the presents. being with my family.
Yeah.
And as an adult, I mean, half of me doesn't like it, another half of me does like it because, I'm a giving guy. I like to, give and, buy presents for my family, because they bought presents for me. So that's kind of an interesting perspective as an adult.
Yeah, I agree with you. You're absolutely right. When you get to a certain point where you don't need anything, it's not like, well, I've got to have a new baseball glove. If you get to a point where you kind of have what you have and the stuff that you do need, you're probably going to buy during the year. You do get more fun out of giving, to see someone open something that you gave them. That gives me a lot more pleasure than getting something at this point. My wife asked me, what do you want? I said, I've got everything. I don't need anything. I mean, get me a case of new tennis balls. She goes, no, that's not. I said, all right, whatever. But I have what I need to have. But it's fun to be able to find a gift for somebody that they didn't expect. And they open it and go, how'd you think of this? And well, I kind of know you pretty well. I thought you might like this. I'm with you. I get more satisfaction out of giving a gift.
Mm-hmm. And
pretty cool.
I would say so, except for saving money, of course.
Well, there's that too. Yeah, there is that. So where exactly are you located?
I'm actually located in Ohio. I live in Middletown, Ohio, but I'm in Dayton right now.
Gotcha. Well, one of your ex-football coaches just got fired today, as a matter of fact.
I think I've heard something about that.
Oh, yes. Urban Meyer, who used to coach at Ohio State, was given the axe today. They said, this isn't working out. And it was pretty big news. I mean, he signed a big, 5-year, multi-million-dollar contract, but things didn't go well. I do remember Urban Meyer from Ohio State.
Wow.
So how far are you from Columbus?
Oh, about an hour and 32 minutes, maybe.
There you go.
I mean, I used to go there a lot, when I was a younger person. I was like going there to visit some friends of mine. So, yeah, it's quite nice. But speaking of sports, I heard that you did some sports, right?
I did, and I continue to. I mean, I did before I realized like you're going to make your living as a singer and as an entertainer. I like a lot of people wanted to be a Major League Baseball player and kind of geared towards that. And after I stopped playing baseball, I taught myself how to pitch fast pitch softball. And for people that don't know what that is, you see softball leagues where it's, slow pitch where they throw the ball way up and you hit it. That's one thing. That's what we call beer leagues. But fast pitch is what you see the girls play in college. Mm-hmm. And when you see the guys play it, it's a tough sport because guys are throwing really hard from 47 feet away. So that's a sport that I taught myself how to play, and I ended up on 2 national teams in 85 and 89. So I got to live out kind of a fantasy at the same time. I got to do that. And now I'm a member of the USTA, the U.S. Tennis Association. So I probably play tennis. I try to 4 to 5 times a week. My days of going to the gym and lifting weights and looking at myself, no thank you. So I'm like a dog. I like chasing a ball. So
Right.
I like playing tennis a lot.
I used to be a baseball player when I was a kid.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I was a decent player. I used to be an outfielder. I used to catch the high balls, except for me getting hit in the nose, but that's a whole other story.
So, and who did you follow? What team did you follow?
Cincinnati Reds and the Indians, actually.
That makes sense. There you go. Well, you're too young for the Big Red Machine.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like, take the compliment and say, you're right. I read about them in the history books, right?
Well, I mean, Pete Rose was a cool dude. I mean, a little bit of history from him. The only reason I kind of know him is because I'm really into wrestling, and he was a special guest on Monday Night Raw one day. So I was like,
of course.
So that's how I know him.
Well, Pete Rose, this is my feeling about him. No, not that anybody asked me. I never liked Pete Rose, mostly because I was a Dodger fan, and that was a great rivalry. And I just didn't like him, period. But I always say, but he could play on my team. I'd find a spot for him on my team.
Wow.
Not the most athletic guy, not the smoothest, but there's a reason he's got more hits than anybody in the history of the game because he was that good.
Right.
I mean, that's a guy who really turned himself into a great baseball player. And the fact that he could play second, the fact he could play third, the fact that he could play first, and just a phenomenal hitter. He was a great ball player. Not everybody's favorite, but It's not a popularity contest.
Oh yeah, yeah. He definitely was one of the greats, and I give him props for that.
Absolutely. It's the same way I feel about Barry Bonds. Never liked Barry Bonds at all, but I'd find a spot in my lineup. Phenomenal ball player.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it is.
Oh yeah, it's sports. It's how it always has been.
You're correct.
And I kind of want to go back to one of your albums. I was actually listening to your a few of your albums. One of them is Inside Out, one of my favorites actually.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice of you. Thanks.
Yeah, and you've actually mentioned the second song,
A Different Time.
Yeah, Different Time, and I'm like, that is similar. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I've re-recorded it, so some of the changes are a teeny bit different, but it's basically the same song, just reimagined for a different. Some of the words are the same. I went to the park today with a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old who call me daddy. It's still the same, but I just made it more of a holiday song. Well, I'm glad you like that album. That's nice of you. That was inspired because I had been doing, kind of jazz big band albums for a couple of years, a little more jazz pop, and I wanted to finally write another album that really reflected the music I grew up on, because I grew up on the Beatles and Steely Dan and James Taylor and Todd Rundgren and Joni Mitchell. Those are the artists that I listened to. So I tried to kind of reflect that on Inside Out.
Mm-hmm. What actually got you into Steely Dan? Because that's actually one of my favorite groups to listen to.
What got me into Steely Dan? They're better than everybody else.
That is the question. Okay.
Period. And not everybody has that kind of taste. Some people are going to hear Bob Seger and say, that's all I need. I'm a Bob Seger kind of a guy. I'm a Dylan kind of a guy, kind of straight ahead Americana. Now, Steely Dan is so far head and shoulders above these groups musically, and those snarky lyrics those guys wrote. I mean, there's some pretty out stuff. I mean, it's usually about losers that were doing drugs in college, or it's about, nuclear annihilation, which is coming soon, but very intelligent, obviously intellectual lyrics from those guys. But the music is just ridiculous. The songs that Donald and Walter wrote together, where do you come up with those changes? Where did you come up with that idea? I mean, just brilliant stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's my opinion.
I've always, when I first listened to these guys, I was like, man, these guys are something else. I like them. So, I kind of became a good fan of them. I bought a few of their albums. In fact, I bought an album just 5 minutes ago because I'm like, why not?
Which one?
It was it was like one of their most popular albums. I can't think of it right now.
Countdown to Ecstasy, The Royal Scam, Asia, Pretzel Logic.
I think it was Asia. Thank you. I had to remember.
Well, Asia is considered by most of their fans their penultimate album. If you're going to have a Steely Dan album, and I like almost all of them, but Asia is it's like a greatest hits album.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, and they took like forever to record it and forever to mix it and forever to engineer it, and used all these different musicians that they brought in. And they would bring in great studio musicians, great drummers, and lay down a track, spend 2 days recording everything, and then throw it out. Not next. Well, to have that kind of power and that kind of money to be able to do that and get it exactly the way you wanted, that's a brilliant album. Mm-hmm. I mean, everything from Josie to, the whole thing is just fantastic. I have a suggestion for an album for you.
What's that?
Are you familiar with Donald Fagen's The Nightfly album?
I know it, but not too familiar with it.
All right. The Nightfly came out in 1982, and it was the first solo album that he did outside of Steely Dan. And if you like Steely Dan, you have to have the Nightfly album. Mm-hmm. You have to have it in your collection, period. And you'll thank me. You'll kill me and say, Steve, thank you for doing that. The Nightfly album it's everything you love about Steely Dan. It's just him with, a lot of musicians that you'll recognize, but it's basically just a continuance, but it's a brilliant album and easy to listen to and great stuff. And he just put out a live version of it. And I'm not a live album fan. I don't like him as much. And the live album is as good, if not better. So that's my suggestion to you.
Well, that's,
Did you ever see them? Did you ever see them in concert?
I wish I have. I heard they're coming to my town actually. So I'm going to see what I can do. Yeah.
I mean, even though Walter's passed on, Donald's still there, and the band is still brilliant, and they'll play all your hits, and you'll have a great time.
Oh yeah,
cool.
I mean, the last concert I was at was Rockville. That was in Florida. So a lot of bands. It was like a big, huge festival.
Who did you see there?
Oh, it was like a lot of metal bands that I'm really into. Metallica was there, Disturb, and all those guys. So I try to widen my view of each type of genre of music.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I did know who your father was. I was a big of a fan. I'm actually becoming a fan of you as well.
Oh, thank
And
you. Thank you.
I actually was watching a video of you and your dad because I was actually curious if you have ever done a duo, and you have. And I was
Mm-hmm.
kind of curious, like, how did that, feel, with you, performing with your dad alongside?
It was I enjoyed it. It was fun. I had to remind it was the video you saw, was it in black and white?
No, it was actually it was color, but it
I'm
wasn't.
trying
It
to
was like,
remember where it was. I kind of had to remind myself to not try and compete with him,
mhm.
because that's going to be the natural inclination. You got this famous father, and everybody knows who Mel Torme is, and you also sing, and I can also scat sing, and I think subconsciously I'd be thinking, well, I'm going to show them. Wait till they hear how I sing, which is ridiculous. So I think I enjoyed it just because I kind of relaxed and felt like this is fun. And my only regret is that we didn't get a chance to do more of it together.
Mhm.
We did record together. I did an album called Swinging at the Blue Moon Barn Grill, and it was the first kind of big band jazz album I did. And I asked my dad to do a duet with me, and he said, "Oh, okay, yeah. What do you want to sing?" Because it's kind of hard to find duets for two men to sing. Most duets are a man and a woman. And I said, you know what? Straighten Up and Fly Right would be really cool. First of all, his very good friend, who, I mean, the circles are just crazy. Nat King Cole had the big hit with the Christmas song, with chestnuts roasting up. Well, Nat King Cole wrote Straighten Up and Fly Right, and the lyrics of, cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top. I said, this will work perfectly. So Dad and I recorded that on my album live, did two takes. And fortunately for me, and unfortunately for him, he got sick maybe 5 or 6 months later. He had a stroke, and he never sang again. And just by good fortune, I'm so thankful that we have this recording of the two of us singing together.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's quite impressive how you guys, did it. And actually, the duo that you guys did was the scat duo. That's what it was.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I.
And I happily and reluctantly acquiesced the throne to him at the end, as I'm going, I can't do that one. We're going back and forth and back and forth. And he throws in some triple speed thing. I went, that's it. You win. You got it. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. Good night. Check, please. Yeah. He was a very, very talented musician, ultra talented musician.
I think it's pretty impressive that he was, that he did a little performance with, Judy Garland. And I was like, oh, look at that. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, she had a television show called The Judy Garland Show, and he was the musical director. And you probably saw the Christmas clip.
Yes.
And, it's funny. We're doing these concerts right now, these concerts called For Kids from 1 to 92, and we open it up with that clip. So people see the beginning of that. And it's so funny because she messes up the lyric. And without him missing a beat, and this is live television, so it wasn't rehearsed, she's saying something like, she's supposed to sing, to see if reindeer really know how to fly. And so I'm offering, and she sings, to see if rainbows really know where to buy. And without missing a beat, he goes close, and he just keeps playing. It was a great moment, because I think he went through that with her a lot. It's not a secret that, Judy Garland, as older she got, was drinking more and was on medication, because that happened to her when she was a kid doing, The Wizard of Oz. They were giving her stuff to go to sleep and getting stuff to get up, and messing up her childhood. And by the time she was an adult doing that show, she was kind of coming and going. And he knew that. And I think that was his frustration working with her on the show. Like, let's try to be as professional as you can. Because he was a big fan of hers. He liked her a great deal. But there were probably trials and tribulations of working with her at that point in her life.
Oh yeah, Hollywood, didn't really treat Judy very good back then. Not to a lot of stars, really.
You're completely right. They are money-making commodities, and it's up to you, and the people that are around you, to keep you on the straight and narrow, and keep you out of trouble, and keep you away from people that are going to take advantage of you. And that's easier said than done.
Oh yeah.
And she was at the time the biggest star in the world. I mean, The Wizard of Oz made her a huge star, and she went up from there. But I'm sure it was really tough for her. You're giving a, you know, I don't know how old she was when she did Wizard of Oz. I think she was 17.
Uh,
You know,
it's like 12 or 17, I think. You're
yeah,
somewhere in
and
those there.
she was very young, and they're giving her, you know, uppers to get up in the morning and sleeping pills to go to bed at night. Bad news. Too bad. Too bad.
Oh
Was
yeah.
what it was.
Oh yeah. But to kind of go back from the song "I Remember Christmas," you know, you kind of talk about the memories in the song. One that you did mention was the part about your kids in the park. What was so special about that moment?
Well, I was born in Manhattan and lived in New York in Westchester County for about 11 and a half years, then moved to Los Angeles, lived there for about over 30 years. And when my wife and I finally moved out to this little town in Wisconsin because her parents lived there, and we wanted to be near them because we had a very small child, and it didn't matter where I lived because I got to get on an airplane to work anyway. So I didn't have a problem leaving Los Angeles. I was in that little park in that town on a hot July day, and my kids were 2 and 4 years old. We were the only people in the park, and they were playing on the swings and laughing and carrying on. I was lying back on the grass, and I remember a maple tree, and you could literally hear the rustling of those leaves on this hot day, a little bit windy. And I really started reflecting on, how did I get here? How did this happen? How did I go from this interesting life in a big city of New York and meeting all these celebrities and living in LA and growing up in Beverly Hills, and I'm in this little tiny park in the middle of the country with my kids? And I came to the conclusion that it was good, that my kids were feeling probably the same way that I did as a child, just secure. You know, I felt safe. I never felt threatened. I was very lucky to grow up in a household that made me feel secure, which is exactly what I wanted for my kids. And that's literally how A Different Time came about. I was just thinking about, you know, I grew up like this and they're growing up like this. I guess when I was growing up, it just was a different time. You could walk into your neighbor's house without having to announce yourself. You just unlock the doors weren't locked. It
Mm-hmm.
was different. People didn't talk about politics. Nobody cared. It was
Well,
just, you
nobody cared
know,
about that.
came home from work and went to barbecues. And as corny as all that sounds, that's kind of what was going on when I was a kid growing up. And I was hoping to be able to transfer that to my children. And that really was the genesis for that song. But thank you for asking. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah. You know, it's kind of interesting that you brought that up because yeah, you can walk into your neighbors' houses with no problem. You know, these days, I mean,
You get shot.
Yeah, you get shot, or you get to ask like, "Hey, can I have a lift?" No, go away. You know, you don't
Yeah.
get that anymore.
Yeah, you don't walk into your friend's house without it being announced, because there's a good chance. Yeah, you might catch a bullet in the shoulder. Yeah, it is a different time, and I would never ever suggest that anybody ever hitchhike. And I did a lot as a kid. Before I got my license, I hitchhiked a lot, and that's a really stupid thing to do. But there were people that, hey, where are you going? "No, I've got to go. I'm trying to go into town." "Come on in. I'll take you down there." Those days are over, probably, fortunately. But yeah, as I said, it was a different time. It's a different time. And I'm sure my parents could say that about their parents, and it's just the way life is.
Yeah, you know, it's with all this technology, you know, and everything that's going on these days. People are just they don't care.
Yeah, well, technology, you know, this was all written in George Orwell's 1984. It was pretty much predicted that technology would exponentially become advanced, faster and faster and faster. But with that, the other side of that coin was we were going to lose some of our humanity because of it. It was spot on, spot on. You know, you go into right now, you and I go into any Starbucks or any store, everybody's like this. Everybody's like this. Everyone, they're all like there's something they're going to miss if they're not on the phone.
Right.
I missed a tweet. No, you didn't. It's fine. So things have changed.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
I would like to mention that, you know, each memory that you mentioned, I got to ask, what is your favorite memory of the song, or what memory would you like to, you know, really go back and visit?
From I Remember Christmastime,
Or just any memory in general.
or any memory from back then at all.
Sure.
Oh gosh. Well, I've got a lot of them. I'll pick out two maybe. A great memory being in a restaurant in New York called Toots Shor's, which was a pretty famous restaurant, and like a lot of the gangsters would come in there and celebrities. It was run by a guy named Toots Shor, and he was very welcoming. It was kind of kind of a celebrity place. But I was there as a little kid with my stepfather, and I'm sitting there opposite him, and all of a sudden I can hear this voice behind me. I heard this guy go, "Well, hey, Hal, how you doing?" And my dad looked up and said, "Hey, Mick, I want you to meet my son, Steve." And it was Mickey Mantle.
Oh,
It
wow.
was like, I had a Ralph Cramden moment. It was like, that was a great memory to meet Mickey Mantle. Gosh, I don't know. I have so many. There's so many. I've been so fortunate to meet lots of people, and I think being in Israel and winning the first of 2 gold medals as a United States athlete. I never expect that to happen. Never expected to represent the United States as an athlete. I played a lot of ball and I sang a lot, but that I didn't see that happening. And that moment of actually standing there and singing the national anthem and them draping a gold medal around my neck, that was pretty special. That was a great memory.
Oh, yeah. And again, I mean, this song, that's what it's really about. I mean, that's what I like about it, is you're just going through the memories. There was one thing in the song, forgive me if I don't say the lyrics right, but you mentioned something about you're walking by, you see your childhood house or your friend. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, and that happens to people. Is that I'm driving down my childhood lane past a life that once was mine. A new family lives inside that space, as I remember Christmastime. Yeah. That's life going on. That's exactly what it was. There's a credit union out here that's a very big one, a lot of money in it. It's called Community First Savings. And they give out loans to, homes and all that kind of stuff. And they're one of the benefactors of some of our concerts here. And we gave them the song this last week, and they just sent us a whole montage, a whole clip of their office and all the people in it. They did a whole video to the song.
Oh, wow.
I was like, oh my God. And, it's to all the lyrics. And, I remember Christmastime, you see the tellers, it's all in slow motion. It's all the people that work inside that building. They actually took the time to shoot a music video to the song, and they're giving it to their customers. And they just sent me an email and they said, we showed it to all the employees this morning, and half of them had tears in their eyes. Well, you can't flatter me any more than that. I mean, that means I did something. I gave something back that actually affected somebody. Mm-hmm. So pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Oh yeah. And I gotta mention this other song that I really like by you. This song I've never been to Vegas, but it makes me feel like I'm walking in Las Vegas for some reason. And it's Route 66.
Yeah, well, Route 66 is a song that was written. Route 66 was written by a guy named Bobby Troop, mm-hmm. Who was an actor. He was on a show, I think, called Emergency, with his wife, who was also an actress. And Route 66 has been recorded by everybody and their brother, but it's such a cool tune. Mm. And I like our arrangement to it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. You mentioned Inside Out. The first song on Inside Out is purposely an homage to Steely Dan. And you can tell from the chord changes.
It is actually, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I purposely put some of the changes in there, but it's got that shuffle beat and the chord changes to go up. That was my way of honoring them in my very little small way. So I'm glad you enjoy.
Oh, well, The Night at the Zoo is another one of my favorites from that album. So
that's it. Well, thank you. And that's kind of, and people said, that sounds like Steely Dan. I said, well, it's supposed to. I did it on purpose just because nice way of saying, I'm a big fan of you guys. I'm going to write something that sounds a little bit like your stuff. So
I will like to ask is, what is your favorite song that you've done? It could be recently or in the past.
That I've written or sung?
Song, actually.
God, I work with a band out here that is basically a cover band. It's a 10-piece cover band, but we try to do songs that not everybody has heard a billion times, so they can hear it and say, "Oh, I love that tune." And one of those is a song by the Young Rascals called "How Can I Be Sure." Mm-hmm. That's a favorite song of mine. Another one is one that my dad used to do in concert all the time, called "The Folks Who Live on the Hill," written by Jerome Kern. That's a beautiful lullaby. God, there's just too many songs. There are too many songs. we do a version of Peg by Steely Dan in this group that's been rearranged so the chords are a little bit different. That's really fun to sing. I'm at a point in my life where I try not to sing anything I don't like because I don't have to. I don't work for another band where I say, well, yeah, I don't care whether you like it. This is in the song list. No, these are my song lists. I do what I want to sing. So I'm fortunate. I'm lucky. Most of the stuff I sing I like. Kind of a long answer to your short question.
Oh, what about the best places you've ever performed at?
Adelaide, Australia, Hawaii, London for sure. London is a cool town.
Always
That's
wanted
a
to go
fun place. I've played in a lot of places across the United States, but Alaska, not necessarily the venue, but being in Alaska was great. It was like, wow, it really is this cold. And, the sun really doesn't go down. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. It looks like it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. No wonder these people drink so much. I've been, again, fortunate that I've been to so many different places. And if I could, there's not enough work there and it's too expensive, but I would just sing in Hawaii every day if I could.
Oh.
Not really feasible. So anyway.
Would you ever be, actually, are you going to be coming to Ohio soon?
I haven't played in Ohio in some time. I would love to. I'm going to really be working on trying to put together a tour for this year. Even if it's just Torme Sings Torme, it'd be fine with me, so that I can get into a lot more of these theaters that in the towns that are playing this song. And I have not been in Ohio in a while. So I'd love to come back there. I'll sing anywhere. So
I would love to have you. I mean, or any place that's close to Ohio. That way I can just drive to you.
I'd love to do it. You and I will sit down at a sports bar, watch a little baseball, drink a couple of beers, and talk sports.
Why not?
I'd love to. All right, if you will indulge me, I have to take off because I got to do my radio show.
Oh,
I have a live. We do a live broadcast every the last Thursday of every month, and it's about 15 minutes from here, and I still got to go shower and get ready. So I got to take off and do that.
I definitely understand.
Thank you for doing this with me, and thanks for asking the questions you ask. I appreciate anything beyond, hey, what's it like being Mel Torme's son? So I appreciate the fact that you've listened to my music and that you're playing I Remember Christmastime. I'm flattered. Thank you.
Oh yeah, I appreciate you coming on to my show, sir, and it's been an honor. And I like to tell you to take care and keep on rocking, sir.
Same thing. Stay healthy, my friend.
Mm-hmm. You take care.
Next time.
Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Steve Torme, and you are listening to Rockin' with Seebass.